Welcome back. This week we're going to go with a fly made popular by Egan. We're going to go with the Frenchie. This is just a pheasant tail variation. It's got a hot spot on it. We'll speak through some of that as we go through it. But a very quick, very effective pattern. There was a short spell to where, I'll get into that a little bit later, but there was a short spell to where I nymphed a ton. That was all I really wanted to do was nymph, even if there were dry flies coming off. And then this pattern, it was just one of those things, you know, something to where you develop confidence in a pattern, and this was one of my go-tos back in the day. Since I haven't really fished it too much, but we'll get into that. I'll ramble on about that while we're going through some of the tying and explaining some of this. But to get started on this one, this is a Daiichi 1120. I haven't gotten into the competition hook scene when I was nymphing big time. There was a short span where I got into some Czech and Euro nymphing and whatever it may be, but then got away from that when I realized that I don't have to use tungsten to get my flies down to the bottom. We're able to use lead here in the States, but you know, for a lot of Europe, they're not allowed to use any tungsten, or any lead, so that's where the different weights and everything come into effect. It just gets to, quite honestly, be a pain tracking all those different sizes. I need some lead wire here. I'm not prepared. There we go, 15 thousandths. It does get to be a bit of a pain tracking all those, and you know, some guys have it down to a science. You know, rows 1, 2, and 3 in a certain box, or 5mm weight, and all of that. I never got into it that much, especially because I learned that I didn't have to. We were able to use the lead here to get our flies down if we wanted. So I'm just going to throw a couple wraps of 15 thousandths lead wire in here, and then I'm going to push that right up to my bead. And that's just to keep my bead secure. That's really the only thing. It does help with a little bit of a taper. But really it's just for that bead security. I don't want it running all over the place, so I want to get that in place for me and staying where I want it. The tail on this one, we're going to go with some Cote de Leon. Probably, I would say 6 to 10 strands. And then same thing as always, we're going to go just slightly longer than our overall length of the hook. And we'll get that thrown in. Get this tied in and secured, and you can run this all the way up to your bead. Gives you a little bit of a taper, kind of fills out the body slightly and saves you some time cutting material. Not a whole lot of time. I just kind of threw that in there at the end, making stuff up as I go. So next up on this one, I'm just going to take some extra small copper wire and get this tied in, and I'll just run this right up to where I left off with the lead wire. Tie that in and secure it. I like using the extra small. You'll see some folks go, heck, even all the way up to a medium, really. I like the extra small for these flies. I don't like it being really apparent. And in all honesty, the only reason that it's really here is to keep a tooth from getting in and messing up your pheasant tail body. Some folks say otherwise, but That's my 2 cents on it. So I'm just going to tie this pheasant tail in. Just have 3 strands here. Make sure that I'm covering up my red. And then I'm going to work this up to just past where I left off with my lead wire. I'm going to make some, I probably could have afforded to go with a few extra wraps. For some reason it's all wanting to split on me. But we'll get her covered up. I got a little bit of red coming through there, but by the time I get this thing counter wrapped, it'll be disappeared. Or it'll be hidden. It'll be disappeared. Listen to me. Oh, get back here. Well, we're gonna undo that real quick. Well, we got company. Not. Center of attention. Alright, so I'm just going to rewrap this real quick. I had that one get away from me. Had a thread wrap come loose. So we're going to redo this. That's only ever happened like one time before. I switched threads over from the last video, and it's a different style of thread, and I didn't change the bobbin, or I didn't fix the bobbin there, so it got a little loose on me and kind of ran away. Those wraps look a little bit better anyhow. That's the reason that we're going to say that we did that. And then we're just going to counter wrap with this extra small. Get your spacing nice and even. Get that counter wrapped and then tie this off. And now this is where you can go in a bunch of different directions as far as the colors that you want to use. I'm just going to go with, this is just shrimp pink salbug dubbing, and I'm just going to run a quick little rope right there and make a couple of wraps right in the front. There you go, nice and even. Everything's covered up, and then we're going to make some apparent wraps to where this red is going to come through, and it's going to be like a secondary hot spot almost. You see a lot of these with red, a lot of them with orange or pink. I've even seen some yellows. Whatever color combination that you want, whichever one you get happy with and wind up having the most confidence in, that's what it boils down to a lot of times with these flies, is a confidence pattern. You hear me talk about those a lot. It's just a pattern that you've had success in the past, and something you continually go back to. And I don't know what the phenomenon is or why it is this way. We're zooming up really slow right now, but I don't know why it is this way. It just seems like when you have these confidence patterns, you're paying more attention to your drift, your indicator, the type of water you're fishing, whatever it may be, and it just seems to produce more. I don't know what it is. It's probably just because it's a confidence pattern. You fish it more often, so you pick more fish up with it. But whatever it is, and whatever you get comfortable with, as far as color combinations go, stick with that and run with it. But like I said on this one, I mean, this is a really quick pattern. You can knock a box full of these out in no time, and it's a very effective pattern as well. But that'll do it for the Frenchie. If you guys have any questions or comments on this one, leave them with me and I'll get back to you. But thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next fly.